introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Brandon, I'm 24.
I'm David, I'm 23.
Perfect. Picture this. You're driving down the highway in your car on your way to God knows where, listening to the hottest new song that went viral on TikTok when BANG! Unlike last time, however, your car didn't flip in spectacular fashion like it did when you were making a movie. Instead, your car's engine just gave what Abraham Lincoln once famously described as its last full measure of devotion. Smoke spews from under the hood as you pull over and you realize, crap, I'm going to need a new car. And nowadays, there are quite literally dozens, if not hundreds of different options on the market. Small or big, family or sport, SUV or compact. Well, today, I'm here to do what I do best. Summarize a few hours of research and a lifetime misspent watching YouTube videos into a blanket recommendation. Fun! So here's what I think you should do. Buy electric. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, but hear me out. If you can afford it, there are actually many good reasons to go electric, and when you get right down to it, there aren't too many good reasons not to. Let's start with cost. According to Kelley Blue Book, the average transaction price of an electric car was $56,371 in June 2024 versus gas-powered vehicles at $48,664. I know it seems like I'm starting with a reason you shouldn't buy an electric car, but bear with me a second. There are many factors that we have to consider that are not represented in that price. And while the starting price may be higher than a gasoline car, there are actually a lot of long-run savings that absolutely whoop a gas car. For one, there's maintenance. According to CarAndDriver.com, the average American motorist drives around 13,500 miles a year. And assuming the standard oil change of every 5,000 miles and the average 5-minute oil change cost of about $100, that's $3 grand in just oil changes over the lifetime of the car. And don't get me started on gas. Assuming an excellent mileage of 29 miles per gallon, it'll take over 5,000 gallons of gas to get the car through its 150,000 mile life. At current rates of $3.30 a gallon, nets you a cost of over 17 grand. When you factor all those costs in, that puts your $48,000 car at a $68,000 car. Unlike with gas cars, every time you plug in your electric car, you're saving money. And here's the real kicker. At home, a full kilowatt of power, or enough energy to get your car almost 3 miles down the road, only costs an average of 15 cents. Charging a 131 kilowatt hour battery like the extended range F-150 Lightning from totally dead to 100% full will cost you a cool 20 bucks. And that's almost half of what 300 miles of gas costs. Speaking of charging, so many people worry about range in an EV that they've donned the term range anxiety. Allow me to put most people's range anxiety to bed. In today's world, the gold standard amongst EV reviewers is around 250 to 300 miles of range in a full charge. For some context, that's enough range to get from Riverview, where I live, to Clearwater Beach and back almost 3 times. Now, if I were addressing an out-of-Florida audience, I would have to give a big caveat and say that in the winter, you would lose a good 30% of your range due to the cold, which admittedly is a not insignificant flaw. But thankfully, we're in sunny Tampa, so we can just straight up ignore that. Anyway, when you own an electric vehicle, you're always going to be able to charge at home. I can't deny that most at-home charging is going to be meant for charging overnight, but what I can say is that unless you drive more than 300 miles every day, or 109,000 miles in 1 year, you would never need to charge anywhere but home. But Adam, I hear you typing, what if I want to go on a road trip, or there's a family emergency with a family in Pensacola and I need to get there? Well, fear not. There may not be a supercharger on every other corner like a gas station, but you don't actually need that many. You only really need one every few miles, and that pretty much already exists, especially here in Florida. YouTuber MKBHD did a similar road trip in a gas car and a battery EV, and in their 1,000-mile journey, the BEV only took an hour longer to do the trip, a gap that I'm sure will only shrink over time as battery tech improves. But if you're not doing a big trip, you don't need to supercharge at all. In fact, according to AAA, the average American driver only drives 30.1 miles a day, meaning that you wouldn't even need to plug your car in every day. After all, who plugs in their phone at 89%? Now, I personally happen to think that the tech in EV is very cool, like how EVs can receive software updates that in some cases significantly improve the performance of the car, or how a lot of cars can now power the homes they're plugged into in the event of a power outage. But one thing I hesitate to bring up now is the environment. Let me be clear, it is absolutely true that eventually electric cars will be one of the biggest factors in pushing towards lowering our emissions. But the key word in that sentence is eventually. Right now, EVs are in their infancy. Your buying one does not have a meaningful effect on the absolutely absurd emission rates cars already produce. So I don't really want to dwell on it or tell you it's a reason you should buy one. But there is one criticism that I would like to address that I hear a lot. And that is, well, the production of EVs is way more environmentally destructive than traditional gas vehicles. While, yes, that does happen to be true, that also doesn't tell the whole story. To paraphrase a report by the Bloomberg New Energy Finance, the manufacturing CO2 emissions of BEVs in 2023 can be up to 2.7 times that of traditional gas vehicles. Which, yes, is bad, but the rest of the 20-something page report can be summed up in 2 sentences. Every day that electric cars are on the road, they're not emitting anything. And the amount it saves by not emitting carbon puts it at carbon neutral at just over 25,000 miles, or 2.2 years. Checkmate. I think we can all agree that there is a very convincing argument to be made for EVs in terms of convenience and as a viable alternative to the gas car. I wonder if this time we're experiencing now was what the first car experienced in its early days competing with horse-drawn carriages or something. EVs are the future of all kinds of transportation, and that future marches closer every single day.